Hey guys, welcome to our flu vaccine extra credit assignment. I'm Ben,
I'm Devin. I'm Racine.
and we'll be connecting the flu vaccine and demand to the news vendor problem.
So, introduction to the news vendor problem. It's used to find the optimal amount to order goods and maximize profits, which can satisfy the demand in an appropriate manner. Usually applies to perishable goods. In this case, the flu vaccine is a good example of that. A couple of the variables that are involved with the news vendor problem are fixed ordering cost, variable ordering cost, understock, and overstock. Understock is when you don't have enough units to distribute and accommodate for the demand. That usually involves having a back order cost as well. The overstock is when you have more units than the demand calls for, and that involves having a holding cost or like a storage cost. There are additional circumstances where you might already have initial inventory, and then you have to decide whether or not it's profitable for you to order or not to order units.
All right, so there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the vaccine demand. The biggest one being that people's beliefs are subjective and they vary between people. So there's a lot of people might have limited trust in research depending on where you go. There might be vaccine skepticism. If their choice of media covers the flu, for instance, that might impact things. And also culture and religious beliefs play a big factor. And also the flus, depending on the year, might be stronger than others, which would increase the demand. If it's a weaker flu season, and decrease it. And the downsides, if you buy too many vaccines, you'll lose money. And if you buy too little, you'll also lose sales, but also worsen public health, which will cause other economic issues in the long run.
Yeah, so just connecting the whole flu vaccine ordering issue with the news vendor problem. So flu vaccines are perishable, so they have expiration dates. And oftentimes each year there's a new flu vaccine that's made. And so the old ones from the year before will either be expired or just not valid to be able to combat the new strains of the flu vaccine. Obviously, we have a selling price, which often the insurance will pay for most people, and they'll pay the company wherever you go to get your flu vaccine. There's no initial inventory at the start of the flu season because, like I said, there's new flu vaccines each year. So there's going to be a fresh ordering period there, which is when we're going to be able to use a lot of these news vendor problem ideas to be able to figure out how much to order. But then there also will be reordering periods throughout that year where we'll also have to decide, based on the amount of inventory that we have, how much should we order. There potential, so you have reordering periods. There's also some fixed costs that are going to come with each ordering period, which could include like shipping costs or just like a fixed cost for the manufacturers. There's also a holding cost. So the flu vaccines are required to be refrigerated from anywhere between 36 degrees and 46 degrees Fahrenheit. And so there's going to be costs associated with that, just being able to hold and store the flu vaccines in a temperature controlled area. And obviously there's also a back order cost. So if there's not enough flu vaccines, you can lose sales and worsen like the reputation of whoever it is that's administering these vaccines. And there can also be overall health detriments to the general population if people are unable to be able to get vaccinated, including, just people getting sick and spreading the flu, the influenza virus. So there are also some additional complications that don't really fit quite with the news vendor problem. So these are kind of some additional variables that can impact supply and demand. So supply is made from private manufacturers. So overall supply can depend on them. And there are times where there can be delays in manufacturing throughout the flu season.
Demand might also fluctuate throughout the flu season. Its most common time for people to get flu vaccines is October and November.
So also consumer relationships might change. Some people may trust vaccine distributors more or less depending on the choices they make, which aren't really accounted for in the news vendor model. And also vaccines aren't going to be equally distributed as the high risk populations will have priority over the other population areas.
And here are our references.
Thank you for watching.